Wonderful. Welcome. Hello, everyone, to School Live. GP and I are here, and we
We are live.
we really are live. School Live live.
Yeah.
Wow, do we? Today's topic is. I had to write this. I love this so much. God is a disowned voice. Reclaim your original innocence. And I wanted to make a note to everybody. This is the lost and found, not the reinvent the wheel, not start from scratch. So if you're floating around this world thinking, I've got to become somebody new, I've got to, really start from scratch. We are here to help you find out that this is so much easier and harder at the same time. And how we're going to jump into this is I'm going to ask GP, Master Spiritual Teacher here, some fun questions. I have to share this. Yesterday, we were over on EWN to do a live meditation the first Monday of the month. And that meditation, because they're so interesting, if anybody's new here, so first of all, welcome, and to the returning people who we so appreciate your company here. The way GP does the meditations, I love that we call them that, and they certainly are, but they're not just guided and telling you where to go. They're asking you to find out where it's comfortable for you. And so, first of all, I promise you won't fall asleep during them. You're resting, but you're not snoozing, and you're not being told where to go. So it becomes more of your own experience. You are learning from this on how to do it yourself. So I have to give a huge, every time I do them with you, GP, and you guide me, I'm like, wow, you actually made me do work, but it was nice work, and I liked it, and I got something more out of it. So it's homework for sure.
Yes.
So
I snuck in the work through the back door. Yeah.
Yes, and that's more comfortable. We like that. So we'll do a couple invitations throughout the show, but right now let's really get into. I love this. God, and the word God. I'm going to ask you at first. God is a disowned voice. Reclaim your original innocence. When you say God is a disowned voice, it really changes what the meaning of God is there. So in that particular statement, what does God mean there?
Well, the word God is obviously loaded. People have justified the most horrendous things in the name of their God. And there's this underlying all ideas about God, even if you're an atheist, the ideas about God are this being separate from us that is acting on us, that has some kind of legal rights over us to make demands and inflict punishment and to establish laws that we have to follow, even though, it is not, government by the people. We had no say in what these things were going to be. It's totally dictatorial. But that's the general theme of it. Even if you're an atheist, when they say they don't believe in God, that's the God they don't believe in. In those terms, I'm also an atheist. I don't believe in the same God they don't believe in.
Right. Oh, wow. Oh, no. I'm an atheist too now. Look at that.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Oh.
Yes, you are. But this has been the general idea. And if you really look at it from the point of view of now, this may sound really odd, but look at it from the point of view of what I talk about all the time, that initial sense of separation that happens from the original existential trauma when you're a child. And suddenly you feel like I'm this body, I'm compressed here, I'm small, there's this big universe out there, right? And it always happens in such a way that there's some kind of an altercation between you and mommy or daddy, or both, right? And of course, under all circumstances, mommy, daddy right me wrong. And from here comes this sense of separation. And once you have a sense of separation, everything is defined by the relationship. There's no unity anymore. There's no oneness. There's no intimacy. Everything is a transaction defined within terms of the relationship. Take a look. Our entire world is based on that model. And it is nothing but a manifestation of the original trauma of disconnect. And so God becomes the ultimate ruler, the ultimate lawmaker, the ultimate enforcer, the ultimate dispenser of rewards and punishment, and mostly punishment. And so that becomes the super being that has all these incredible attributes. He's everywhere. He's a he, of course, right? You know, she's are not much too nice. They're too nurturing. It's got to be a guy. It's got to be a warrior god, and that is the model, a warrior god. And so, and so that becomes the model deep in human psyche. And because we're ignorant of the nature of the human mind and human consciousness, we literally experience what we believe. And so we project everything that happens out there to us, to others, and the like, and put it in this context of a God who has these extraordinary superpowers, right? And not only does he know everything you do, he knows everything you think. I mean, we're talking about thought police on steroids, right?
Talk about censorship.
Oh, censorship. Terrifying you of your own thoughts. Now, if you really look at it, that's the model we all went through, because the feelings that drove the behavior that got the unpleasant reaction from your caregivers, the feelings became an enemy. They became dangerous. They became sinful. And so I was literally disconnected and alienated from my own nature. And this idea of God emerged to make sure that line never got crossed. This is the model of God that we've been living with. And our religions are simply trying to bridge the gap, to be good enough, right? To earn God's favor. And failing that, because Christianity took Judaism one step further and said, you're not even good enough to do that. there has to be a surrogate who makes the sacrifice for you, who is actually good enough to pay the price for the rules that God himself made and could easily have just set it aside. But no, I need my blood money.
Yes.
But this is a concept of God that we've been living with and have been living with. It has formed Western culture. It hasn't formed the East. I mean, imagine growing up in a place where they've never heard of the fall. They never heard of Adam and Eve. They never heard of original sin or hell or punishment or anything like that.
Interesting question when you say about the West. And there's not a blame here, I guess, and maybe there's no answer. I don't know. But how did we let it spread so far, so fast, and so long? How did this thing spread and get believed and adopted and then even promoted?
Well, because it fits, because it's a cultural tribal god.
Right. Because we're called, yes.
And so it's all about enforcement. It's all about rules. It's all about power. It's all about superstructure. The ego.
I lost you.
Adopted it. And you have just frozen for a little bit. Did you hear me, or did I freeze too?
I didn't get that. It was such a good one. You just I heard that. Yes, I heard that. Yes, it's cultural. Yeah.
It's cultural, and the ego loves it. It fits. It is, this God is the ego, right? This God is the devil. Jesus even called him that. You don't worship your God, you worship the devil. He even said that. No wonder they wanted to get rid of him. He was quite accusatory about the whole thing. Christ presented a very different idea of God. That was the actual conflict. He was presenting a complete God as love, not as God as the dictator. But eventually it got twisted. Constantine, who literally made up the idea of having a vision of Christ so he could unify troops, right? It was a lie from beginning to end. He didn't have any conversion. He didn't have any experience. And you can tell because all the monuments he built to himself into the war, there's not one mention. There's nothing about his great Christian love. It was a tool of empire that it got turned into. And it's so effective that it persists to this day. And it is the tool. I mean, what is the tool of the ego? Fear and intimidation.
is and safety or no protection. But protection
Well,
doesn't mean healthily. Protection can mean, I'll create fear so I'm protected. I'll create control so I'm protected.
mhm.
And that's what I want in the title there. We even say, God is a disowned voice. We're not talking about the egoic God, the God that the ego created. We
Yes.
in this sense, we'll go into that then. But yes, I want to
Yeah.
highlight that difference. We don't want that ego God to be out there chatting around.
Well, it's the God out there,
Right.
right? The
Oh,
very
yeah.
fact, the moment I say God is a disowned voice, the tension has to turn inward.
Right. Yes. And because I want to quote you on this, because in our beautiful light letter, and we'll let you know where to get that. We'll give you all the details. I can see some of the comments coming. We'll get some details out to you. Disowned means cannot be acknowledged. It is not allowed. So if you just don't think of when we've ever disowned, so I disown you, I will not acknowledge you, And so when we're saying that it's a disowned voice, it's a voice that cannot be acknowledged because it isn't safe and because we don't know how to get there. What would be the...
Well, because at first it's not safe because the expression of that voice caused you pain, caused you misery. I keep looking to my left here because I don't have a good place for the computer. I'll put it here so I can look more directly in the camera. Yeah, if it causes you pain and suffering, I mean, of course, you're not going to do it, right?
Right.
And it becomes a matter of suffering. And remember, children don't really know what they're doing. They're simply reacting to what gets my needs met, what doesn't. What makes mommy, daddy mad, what makes them happy, and I will just turn myself into a pretzel to give them because it's just part of the way we have to survive. And in the process, of course, we have pushed to the basement all the characteristics of ourselves that were unacceptable. They become the disowned superpowers. That is the voice of God. Because God is the best of you that has been pushed aside and then projected on this super being. Oh, he's really, really good. I'm not, right? It's all a projection. It's all you. Joseph Campbell says all the demons and devils, all the gods and goddesses, all the heavens and hells are all you.
Yes. Yeah. How does one know? I love that you speak about the basement because the book, the ebook right now at the moment, Angels in the Basement. How do we distinguish? How do we know if a characteristic? Oh, sorry. How do we know if a characteristic is, in fact, us, like the disowned coming through, or yet again another, not facade, but a means of protection, another character coming out to protect us?
This is the whole the heart and soul of spiritual practice and self-inquiry. You have to come to be able to tell the difference between what is just yet another conditioned pattern reproducing itself and what is genuinely myself. And this is where it's easy and hard at the same time. It's easy because it really is easy to recognize what's you and what isn't. I mean, when you stand in front of a mirror, it's you. You don't need to get out a book and check, right? When you actually experience these yourself, your own energy, your own feelings, your own desires, you immediately recognize them, right? But we've been so conditioned to deny them, to misinterpret them, to lay emphasis on behaviors that aren't that. That's where the water gets muddled. And so it is a question of self-discovery, and there's no other way to do it. You can't wave a magic wand, wag a magic wand, and wag a magic dog and have things disappear. You have to come to understand. And of course, that's really what we want. We don't. On one level, we just wished all the bad stuff would go away. But that's the child. What we really want is the wisdom by which we're never captured again. That's a mature spirituality, right? Just praying, please take this away from me. While it's heartfelt, and you understand the suffering and pain that brings that to your lips, it is infantile. You still remain a servant to this outside force that you're now appealing to take care of you. It's simply a different form of the same thing.
That was big. That was huge, because sitting here, I would think, yeah, I want them just to take it away, like take it away. But if you don't understand, I love that you said that, it's the wisdom that comes, because it no longer holds you captive to what happens if it comes back. And I'm going to say this even right now, just moments before doing this show, somebody had found some old medical records and was alarmed, like, oh my gosh, I forgot that this had happened, and oh my gosh, what happens if it happens again? And it was an immediate fear-based, trapped. It wasn't taken. It was taken away, but it wasn't taken away, because they immediately, our nervous system responds and reacts there. So I did suggest to do the tapping. Even if you don't know the words, tap tap tap. But
tap tap tap.
So using that right there, because that was a really good. So reclaim your original innocence is not having something taken away. It's not having the bad punishment taken away from you, being relieved, from your sins. It is, well, how can we get, what would be other words for that? By reclaiming your original innocence.
Well, what happens to reclaim your original innocence means that everything you think, feel, do, all of it is innocent. It is inherently innocent. It has been made corrupt by the experiences we've had. We've taken that corruption and internalized it as conditioning, which then becomes self-sabotage, self-criticism, self-judgment, because you're not who you think, because you're not being what you're supposed to be. Right? The reality is that you are now and always have been that pure, perfect self. That was my revelation at 19, standing on that bridge, that changed my life forever. That you've always been that. It has never been anything else. Right? The recognition of that immediately shifts the relationship between you and conditioning, from one of this conditioning is me, and then it goes to this conditioning is a problem I have to get rid of, to finally it has nothing to do with me. It's just programs running in my nervous system, and I can easily dismiss those. Now you're standing in your power. You are standing as the divine being and dealing with the conditioning rather than fighting with it or trying to change it or trying to put self-help all over it, which are all just ways, those are subtle ways in which we've still identified ourselves as the conditioning. Right?
Yes.
The original innocence was never touched by conditioning. It's the witness of conditioning. Conditioning has surrounded it, but it has never actually touched it. It's never bonded with it, just as I saw between the pollution and the water. They never even touched.
Yes. Oh, that was so big there too. The witnessing of it. It's not, I wish I had a rewind button. Okay. So I think you did. I saw a word come up in the middle, which is perfect timing for this. Well, we're going to talk about the question about non-duality. You just took us from being conditioned to wanting to fix being aware of the condition, to wanting to fix the condition, to recognizing that the condition exists. It is us, but it's not us. It is never touched, but we can still be it. Is that non-duality? That's the not one. It's.
Well, yes. And it goes even further because, at first there's a separation that takes place from the conditioning, right? So now, before we got separated from ourselves, which created the conditioning. So now at the original innocence, you're back in yourself with a relationship to the conditioning, completely different, right? But now the conditioning, that when you're still identified, it's a problem, it's difficult, it's struggle, it's all, I got to get rid of it, right? But from this place of original innocence, it's not a problem at all. It's simply the way life works. It's the Tao. And the strange paradox is you literally become one with it. Because it's no longer a problem, you begin to harmonize with the way life functions. And now, as a result, conditioning is no longer your enemy. Because remember, that when we talk about conditioning, we talk about all the self-sabotage, the bad habits, having the same kind of things happen over and over again. I always get the
Limiting beliefs.
All the limiting beliefs. That's what we think about the conditioning. But if it wasn't for conditioning, we couldn't talk, we couldn't eat, we couldn't ride a bike, we couldn't play a piano. It's the same mechanism, right? Okay. It's that which takes stuff that means something to us and is important and makes it automatic.
Yes.
That,
Okay.
that's conditioning. That's the autonomic nervous system. But it was just conditioned because it was dominated by safety. It had to do what it does, which is adapt to the environment. Now, if you take charge of that environment, and then environment becomes original innocence rather than the lack of safety of your childhood home, if you now become safe, the conditioning will immediately begin to conform itself and adapt to that environment. It really is simple because that's what it does. It's not fighting you, it's not an entity, it's not sentient, it is purely reactive. There's nobody there.
Right. Right. So the conditioning, the act, it changes, it adapts. Well,
Uh-huh.
is it because it's our is conditioning our perception?
Conditioning forms perceptions, right?
Ah.
Yeah, conditioning and perceptions. We're getting more and more subtle here, right? Right? Because conditioning, remember, it's all how you see it, right? If
Right.
I'm identified with the conditioning, then conditioning is myself. I always do this. I struggle with this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Those are all because you're looking at the way you've been conditioned to behave and saying, that's me, right?
Yes.
So now you perceive conditioning as yourself, right?
Mhm.
But the moment there's a discovery that I'm not my conditioning, your whole perception of it shifts, it changes, right? And, which means the relationship between changes with it. And the end result is with the disidentification comes the power over it.
Okay, this is interesting. It's bringing that exact explanation there. I think I grabbed it. Sometimes I have to grab an example to do this. Say something goes wrong in our lives. Who knows? Whatever. It could be an accident, it could be financial ruin, it could be divorce, it could be gaining weight, could be all these things. And
Mhm.
we think it's our fault originally. But for some reason, it makes us feel better if somebody else hit us in that car accident. If we gained weight because we got pregnant, or if we lost money because somebody else swindled us, so is that because we are not owning the conditioning where we are, I wasn't, do we have an excuse? Sorry, I guess that's where I'm going. If we feel an excuse for the conditioning, does
you
that,
you actually have the ultimate excuse. It's not me.
it wasn't me.
None of it was me. None of it was me. It's the Bart Simpson defense. It was like that when I got here.
Yeah. Yeah. But is that
Now,
any
here's the
benefit?
important thing, though, right? You're not responsible for it happening, but you are now responsible for it because you're dealing with you're dealing with the pushback of it. You are dealing with the
Yes.
results, right?
Yeah.
So on one hand, you go, okay, I didn't do this. I didn't create any of this. I did not create any of my own conditioning. I didn't. Nobody did, right? But I have to deal with it. I can't just go, hey, asshole, why did you do that to me? You can't do that. I have to take the responsibility that the energy patterns that are unfolding as my life are unfolding because I am participating in them in some way. And ultimately, that means in some way, I am still identified with conditioning as myself. When there is no identification left of conditioning, you are in perfect harmony. That's what's called an enlightened being.
Okay, right. And you have gently let us know earlier that we don't have to get there this lifetime. So if everybody's not to enlightenment yet, not to worry. We're okay so far. We just
No, it's actually far simpler. It is engaging in this process. The awakening begins when the recognition is there that I am more than simply this body and mind and conditioning. And that is enough to turn your entire life in a different direction. That's not enough to completely remove all the conditioning and all of its tentacles and all the ways in which we have identified with this and that and all the stuff we're holding on to and all the fears. It's not going to go in one fell swoop. But if the realization is strong enough and sinks in deeply enough, it will shift the way in which you do things so that every step will be an opportunity to know more, to assert more, to go more into your wisdom, to go more into your compassion. so that little by little, the conditioning falls away until finally it just accelerates and it all falls away.
And what you just shared there, I think will help every other healer, teacher, parent who thinks that once they can identify what's wrong with this kid, what's wrong with this, my relationship, what's wrong, that just because we have that awareness, it's wonderful. And there is an opportunity to engage differently, to participate differently, but not to fix all. Like I'm one to do that. I look at, oh, that's the problem. Woof, tentacle's gone, right? No.
Yeah, no, these are not the kind of things that you just fix because they've integrated into your sense of self. That's why it's difficult. Other than that, it's not difficult. But we have identified with ourselves. The strongest driver of human motivation and experience is our sense of identity, who you believe yourself to be. Now, the great news, the big realization is that the sense of self, that sense of identity, you didn't create that either.
Right. Ooh.
Your whole
Level
sense
2.
of self, that which you call me, was a fabrication of the nervous system to keep you safe. It was a ruse. It was a false persona created to present to the environment to make sure you got your needs met. And it did such a good job of it, it hid it even from you.
Do we stop, say my needs were met? Do then I stop presenting myself that way? Do I have to build a new perception, a new do I now say, okay, needs are met, I have the money, I have this, oh, I now become somebody different?
Well, it could, but it's not going to do that unless you have already encountered the wonderful truth that you are not your conditioning. Otherwise, you'll now create a different sense of self that's based on somebody who's got their needs met and the like. Right? This is the way the conditioning works. It's just adapting to the environment. Until we're consciously aware of that adaptation taking place, we'll just go along with the next adaptation. And in fact, we'll like this one better. Oh, it's got more money. I've got better quality relationships. So I'll become that now. And that, I'm a spiritual guy, right? I meditate 2 hours a day. Right? But anything can become a sense of identity until you see the nature of how identities take shape and that none of them are you. Even the very best identity you could possibly have isn't you. A divine being of light, filled with glorious music and singing angels and colors coming and showing this is you. You go, it can't be. I'm looking at it.
And that's the ticket. Okay, right there. Because yes, I love that you just brought that up, because that's a big question. We think, okay, well, I just want to be the best version of myself, my higher self, my truest self. That I love that you use that specifically. I'm just light. I'm just light. This is nothing real in me here, but we're still not even just light. We're not.
No.
Yes, because that's
light includes the lower frequencies too. It includes red and violet.
Right. Right.
It's not just the pretty colors in the sky.
Right.
It's earthy. Consciousness is not just this rarefied thing. It's the concrete. It's the body. It's sneezing. It's a runny. It's all that, right? You can't pick and choose what you like. They're all part of the thing that needs to be embraced. So yes, you are light, but light appears as solid form.
Yes.
It isn't always rarefied. This is the true non-duality. It is not some other state. It is this state right here, seeing it as it actually is. This is the divinity. This is God, right? The runny nose is God.
Is being afraid, is having fear still God? Or
if what we're talking about is the natural fear of the organism reacting to a genuine threat in the environment, the answer is yes.
Okay. Preservation.
But human beings aren't doing that. We're not, you and I don't get chased by bears or saber-toothed tigers very often, right?
Not very often.
What we are afraid of is our own minds, memories of the past and projections into the future, none of which are real. That, the process of experiencing, is God. And so this may sound really strange, but even that is God. What can there be other than the absolute infinite all? You can't say, okay, this isn't. That's very handy, right?
Yeah.
It's all or nothing, right? But here's the key. How am I actually seeing what's there, or am I seeing my concept of what's there? If I really see what's there, I see God. If I see my concept, I see separation.
And that's where that
The
judgment.
separation is an illusion projected upon God.
Yes. Yeah. And that's that separation. Oh.
Yeah.
Whew, well, I almost need to take a break myself because I was like, oh my gosh. I really felt all that. I do know where I want to come back to, because in the light letter, so everybody here that's joined us, thank you so much. The light letters is really quite a beautiful blog and a lesson all rolled into one. And you ask, will you offer some of those self inquiry questions to begin, where to begin, how to walk through this, what do I do? And I want to pull some of them up actually, but just I can see everybody, they're beautiful, some questions in here and some lovely comments. And maybe that's all, what I'd like to ask this one from King de la Clark. That's a fun thing to say. What books are out there to recommend on non-duality? Because books are interesting to me. I don't think I could read about this and make sense of it. I think I need to be a teacher.
Well, they are. It really does require a teacher, simply because the only problem with books, and I'm going to give you some recommendations, is that we when we read something without having access to a teacher to help us sort through it, we tend to take things in within the context that we're normally used to. So we try to take these non-dual ideas, which are radically different and mysterious, and try to fit them in to our current understanding. And that's where it gets confused. That's what Jesus referred to as taking new wine and putting it in old wineskins, right? They can't handle it. They distort it. Now, that said, one of the best ones, especially one of the best ones ever, the first one that I really absorbed was I Am That from Nisargadatta Maharaj. It took me 2 years to read it the first time because it was so loaded. I would just read a sentence and go, what? And just stop in my tracks. Talks with Ramana Maharshi is another one. A little bit more advanced and to the point is The Essence of Ribhu Gita. That's spelled Ribhu. You can get all sorts of free copies of I Am That out on the internet in PDF form. Talks with Ramana Maharshi. Some I think you can find some free. I think it's available as a Kindle. The Ribhu Gita is available both as a book and as a Kindle book. So those guys are available. Those are good. And then in addition to that, the Heart Sutra, translated by Red Pine. Those are the ones you want to get. And then when you're really, after you've been through all of those, a couple of years from now, you can take on the Lankavatara Sutra, which took me 6 readings before I finally started to get it.
You read these all after the night of the bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, many years afterwards, actually. I had no access. I didn't have access to this kind of stuff. Right?
Do we have to have some kind of opening or enlightenment to pick up one of these books and even kind of grasp anything?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But if you're led to open up the book and read it, then you've had it.
Right. Yeah.
Believe me, you won't even pay any attention to it. You won't be even in a bookstore or in the aisle that would have a book like that.
Right.
If something wasn't already there prompting you. I think I told the story how I discovered I Am That. I was reading the only book I ever read of Wayne Dyer. I mean, he's great, but I was never into him, right? I like some things that it just never resonated with me. I was reading a book, Your Sacred Self. About halfway through the book, he quoted Nisargadatta. And I saw that name, and the name struck me, right? I didn't even finish the book.
Forget you.
3 months later, I'm walking through the East West bookstore near, where was it? 15th Street in New York City. And I walked into the, it's kind of a spiritual bookstore run by the Himalaya Institute. And I'm just walking down, and this orange book catches my attention. I look, and I am that. And Nisargadatta Maharaj. Oh, yeah. And that's how I found it.
And that was a good purchase because that sent you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wore that book out. As did millions of other people, as did many, many other people when that book came out. He went from being this little guy in Mumbai, talking to the neighbors, to all of a sudden people were coming from all over the world to meet him. Right?
Yes.
So this is how it happens. So the answer is absolutely yes. But if the prompting is there, that is the awakening. It doesn't have to come as the, oh, I see God, right? It comes as just a little nudge. One person I know had a book literally fall on their head from a shelf, and there was nobody around, and they don't have earthquakes in Argentina. She was just standing there looking, and all of a sudden this book hit her on the head.
That's incredible. There's a super calling, a super vibrational match there. It's
yes.
I'm going to pull this out. I can't believe I'm going to ask this one because I get always confused when I say the word vibration. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use that word. I do want to use that word vibration because we're talking about disowned, or we're talking about cannot be acknowledged or not allowed. Is it possible to not allow or not acknowledge a vibrational match, a thing like a book falling on your head, or
Of course. Oh. The mind can go, oh, that's nothing. Just a coincidence. No. Nothing really happened. Oh, you just didn't see the person, right? Oh. Yeah, of course. And if the prompting, hasn't sunk in deep enough yet, you'll listen to that voice and ignore it. But the truth is beautiful. It'll just sit and wait for the next opportunity, throw something else at you. Very patient. I mean, it's got all the time in the world.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, it's very loving. It just says, oh boy, okay, what's next? And then, banana peel on the street. I mean,
yes. And to look
it's got all sorts of resources to finally get your attention.
Yes. And I like that because it is a reminder that are we always on path? Are we always on track? Or, I guess our perceptions can be we can be so disowned from our innocence that we just maybe not this lifetime.
But it creates an illusion. It creates a delusion. You can't be off the path. How can you?
Right.
That would mean there's another power other than the one self. So you can't ever be. You can believe that you are, and therefore experience a world that's full of chaos and struggle and all sorts of things, not realizing that it is completely self-created. It's the illusion, right? But if I believe it into existence because I'm simply not aware of my own power. I don't realize that I am the God that's creating all this.
That's like winning the lottery, it feels like, to have that realization. Yes. I do have the winning numbers. Look at that every time.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Every single time. Yeah. And you don't even have to buy a ticket.
Exactly. Yes. It's funny. Lottery tickets came up in my conversations yesterday. It was funny. I'm going to say hello to everybody. And I'm actually surprised one of my friends is here from Ireland. So I just wanted to say hello. And then we're going to go by and say hello to everybody else too, but just hello to people. What I really didn't want this opportunity to go by. In the questions, I'm gonna read just a few key ones because you asked them so well here. This isn't the light letter, guys. Is asking what is really me and what is what I have been conditioned to believe. We were talking about that. Are these assumptions true? We have to think we're assuming them. Is this image that I hold of myself who I truly am? Who was I before all of this conditioning happened? I have to stop on that one because I read it and I went, well, how am I going to know that? Like, how am I going to get to the answer on that one? And that question was, who was I before all of this conditioned happened? So can I sit there for a minute and then we're going to go and talk to all these questions and comments?
Sure. There's a beautiful Zen koan. What did you look like before your parents were born? It's something to ponder, right? What did I look like before I was born, before my parents were born? They refer to that in Zen as your original face. Such a beautiful term. But what was I before I was conditioned? Well, how would I know? Well, because it's what you actually are. How can you not know? Right? I mean, conditioning is conditioning. It is conditioning laid on top of something. It isn't the thing. It can't be. So what was there before the conditioning happened? And it's not the kind of question you can answer with your mind, because any question you answer your mind will be more conditioning. It'll just be another image of you, right? What were you before there was an image of you? When I do those meditations and I bring people back to that sense of being, that sense of presence, that's it. It doesn't have a form. It doesn't have a locality. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have any attributes that it is bound to. All sorts of attributes come out of it, but none of them actually define it. Right? As always, I use the example of music. Right? Try to tell somebody what music is without humming a tune.
Making no sound. Yes.
You can't do it, right? And so you hum a tune, and then somebody say, "Oh, that's music." Well, no, this is, and also this, and you hum another tune, and you just keep. Oh, okay, so those. No, 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 no. You realize that what you're dealing with music is like a principle. It's this invisible force. It's this invisible potential for organizing things into a harmonious form, right? But you cannot describe music. You can only recognize it when you see it. So music is free of all attributes. Right?
Right.
The song is the embodiment of the attributes, and those attributes then give us a picture of what music is like. That's God, the ultimate, that everything manifests, but it is never contained in anything that is manifest. It is never bound by it. So the God energy, the God spirit, the God self that is manifesting in this body and that body and all these bodies is not bound by the body. Right? It's manifesting in every single body. So you want to find God? God is what's looking through your eyeballs right now.
It puts you on the other side. The other side.
Yes.
Is being, because I love how when you say being, just being, is being God and feeling is manifested?
Yes, that's beautiful. That's a way to do it. Yes. God is beyond all feeling. So any feeling is going to be a manifestation. The tiniest little sense, even the sense I am, the sense of my own presence, is a vibration. And it's okay to use the word vibration. It is a presence. It is something discernible, right?
Right.
Whereas the ultimate music is not discernible, except when that vibration happens, right?
Yes.
So the true God is not discernible at all. It cannot be known.
Yes. I think that's the magic there. Like right from the title, I knew it. I was like, oh, this title is loaded. Like, oh, well, again, thank you everybody for being here. If you are enjoying this, please hit the like button. But in saying that, I know there's some beautiful comments here and hellos. I want to see if there's any questions, because when we do the Om School Live, we are in class. We are in class, and it's questions away. I'm representing student body here.
People.
Yes. And we are here to all do the Om work. Was there a question? Oh, I did want to answer the meditation that was done. Once it's on EWN, but maybe we'll share it elsewhere too. But I think that's So that's
Yeah, I sometimes will share that on Insight Timer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Insight Timer.
Which I'm now on for anybody who has that on their iPhone or on their Android. It is an app. That's where you listen to it. Yeah.
Let us know if you are. We're curious. We want to know where you're going to hear all these wonderful things. There you go. And is it Anu? Some lovely comments here, and that you've helped. You know, it's self-discovery, self-inquiry and self-discovery. Same thing, right?
Well, self-inquiry leads to
Self-help.
self-discovery.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay. Love that.
Right.
Love that.
And what self-inquiry is, okay, what is really me? I've assumed that this is who I am. So I'm inquiring into whether that's true or not. Right. And the process, of course, is as I'm dismantling what isn't true, that which is begins to shine through. Just like a cloud getting thinner, you begin to see more and more of the sun. Right. And it's just, you don't have to create the sun, right? You know, you're just clearing everything out of the way, and then suddenly, boom, it's there, right? Oh, it's been there the entire time. That's why it's a discovery, a realization, not an attainment, not something that is acquired. You can't acquire yourself.
That beautifully said. I love that. Yes, it's not. Oh, you can't acquire yourself. Yeah, you are everything. You are it. This is
Yeah, you're it.
yeah. And
If God is all, that's you. That's got to include you. Okay. So, yeah, there's God is everything except me. No, it doesn't work that way.
You'd never be kicked out of the game, you know.
You can't get kicked out. Yeah.
With this, I want to take this conversation into a slightly new but the same, because we're all here and we're celebrating everybody and so happy to be together. Okay, yeah. Now I want to talk about this together thing, because we will be doing. GP is going to be leading. I have to read the title properly, by the way. Tapping for the World, Energy Healing a Planet. And when we talk about energy healing a planet, I have to ask this bold question. It's going to sound like I know nothing, but I'm going to say it. Why, and is it true, and why and how, when we all come together in prayer, in energy sharing, how does it amplify if we already are all the same?
Well, we come together in the mutual recognition of it. Right? Remember, we're at this level of human development. We're in this kind of this mixture between the divine and the animal and the human, right? And we're trying to see more and more clearly the pure light of consciousness, the pure light of being. But look around the world, and we obviously don't, right? And so the purpose of any of these kinds of techniques are coming together. And by the way, the first one is going to be praying for the world. Is to come together and reflect the oneness, so that we're acting as one. We're walking that talk, right? We're embodying it as best we can. So it isn't just in the head, right? It really infiltrates the entire life. That's the whole point of churches. That's the whole point of a temple, right? And that word, a temple, is the root word of contemplate. Contemplation derives from temple. And the word church, which is actually beautiful, our modern word from it comes from, I can't remember what it is now. Case, it starts with a K. It was a Greek word which meant the house of the Lord. Yes. But the word, as it's used, actually, it uses a different word in Hebrew and in Greek. It's ecclesiasta, I think is what it is, which means called out from. Wow. We're called out from the ignorance. We're being called out of the darkness, and that calling out, that is the consciousness. That's the true church. And in the Buddhism, it's sangha, which derives from communion. The word communion. It's communion with the truth. Right? The sat being truth. The sat sangha. Right? So it is this communion with the truth, and coming together is a recognition that we are one in this, right? And therefore while you can't amplify the infinite, I mean, you can't get any bigger, you can amplify the experience of it. And that's what churches are supposed to be. That's what sanghas and temples and synagogues and assemblies and all the different words that are used. That's the whole purpose for us to share in it. And the Zen master Swan Song was once asked about why putting people together, why not? He says, well, if you want to clean a whole bunch of potatoes, you could take them one at a time and scrub them, or you can throw them all in one big pot and boil them, and they'll all get cleaned together.
I love that. I think all of us have experienced either being in school, in a class, maybe the first day of school. Everybody hopefully has probably experienced the first day of school, and you don't know anybody. Maybe you know one person or a few people, but then the teacher comes up and she does he does a little activity that we all have to participate. Or turn to your left and say, "Oh, my name is Lisa," and and you share, or you have to find the green toy or something like this, and then we all have a shared experience, and we all have this thing in common. Boom. And suddenly it just. You just brought me there to the memory of it. So if we stay singular and separate and apart, we can still meditate and sing and offer our healing. However, yes, I can see that now. It's that coming together, whether we're praying or just uniting together, and then it's amplified.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's fun. I haven't done that for a while, it feels like.
It's a big expression of the union that is the manifestation of love.
That's beautiful.
That's love known. That's love in action. That's love expressed. Is when we all come together over our common love for humanity and our common desire to see us all wake up and experience a world that we know can be better.
Oh, I want to rename the word common law now to common love.
There we go. Yes.
Well, I feel like we could possibly just potentially wrap up here. And because if anybody has any questions or comments, they could plop in there. That'd be wonderful. But I do want to make an invitation to keep up with everything. GP, you're back now from Germany for a little visit now back in the United States. You'll float around there, do some fun things, and then who knows where your next journey will be.
Who knows where next is? Yeah.
We'll have to keep an eye out for the blog, The Wandering Sage. I love that. But so sign up to the Light Letter by going to gpwalsh.com. And there's all kinds of goodies there, from books to meditations to what's going on into our show topic. So we'd love for you to be there. And then the upcoming event, which will be in Easter weekend. So we'll put some details out, and GP will
That's correct. Yeah. 19th and 20th. I guess that is. No, wait. April, is it April or
16, 17? April?
And the 16th and 17th, that's the tapping one. That will be on the Easter weekend. But I'm doing one in March. I'm doing the prayer one in March.
You know what? I got them messed up, and I was like, I thought we said the Easter. Okay, perfect. See, it's keeping me on my toes,
but
guys.
Just to get on the letter, I'll be putting out an email in the next day or two, announcing it. So.
I think that'd be a beautiful experience, and especially if we are just feeling or manifested feeling of being separated or feeling alone, or just desiring to be in a community, to be uplifted and support. I think this is such a beautiful thing to do. And we always love when you come here as well. And did any questions come? No, just wonderful thanks and everything from everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you, GP. This has just been more enlightenment. Thank you.
More of that enlightenment stuff. I love it. Drink it up.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, everybody.